It's one of the most expensive in the world because of nobody controls the port. Nobody regulates the port. Nobody is interested in looking at the procedures in the port.
Okay.
There's no way you run a port in that system, in that light, and you'll be able to have an efficient port.
Okay, Mr. Bago, let me bring Mr. Bago here. Mr. Bago, you are of the Ship Owners Association. How is it that, what has your association done to see to the reduction of costs? Because this also impacts on you.
Of course, we've been here before and we discussed this thing. You see, son, what are they doing in the port? You don't have to check goods when they're already in Nigeria. In Britain, in US, they have what you call British standard. That's what he's trying to tell you. Some's supposed to know which goods are coming into Nigeria through the Form M that people are importing to be sure that the goods comply with whatever they call it, whether Nigerian standard. You don't go to port for what?
I don't get it. How do you expect them to check those goods? Because it's possible.
Nigeria should have
from the point of departure.
We should have our standard. Anything be coming to Nigeria. Have you heard of British standard?
So even before they leave,
they must comply with Nigerian
standards.
So are you saying that we don't have standards?
If they have, what are they doing in the port? The thing is to check if what they're importing comply with the SON standard. You are not custom. You are not going to begin to rummage goods imported, going to warehouse to check tire.
Mr. Bob, I don't understand you. If you're saying that their job is to check whether what's coming in aligns with Nigeria's standard, with SON standards.
Yes.
How would they check if it aligns if they don't come in there to...
You have to, right from importation, Nigerians must import goods that conform with the SON standard. If it is tire, they have standard. Anything that does not fit into
from
that
the
standard,
point, and those standards would also have to be checked by the...
It has to be in a very big booklet so that importers...
What I'm saying is, between the point of departure and arrival here, some dubious people have been known to fiddle with the goods and mix in some things. So why are you saying some cannot come in there to check?
That's a different thing. You have to have trade intelligence. All this obstruction in the port is costing us money. He has told you that. It's costing us money. If you remember, during Dora Akunyili, she was always in India, always in China, making sure that she licensed pharmaceutical companies that are manufacturing drugs coming in here. So that if you are in breach, you'll be fined. It's international. Some has no standard. You go to a warehouse, you pick a tire. This tire, have you told them what is Nigerian standard? What is going to come to Nigeria?
They have no guideline.
There's none. British standard is a code, is a big booklet if you want it or you access it. If you want to order for anything in Britain now, you go to BS, you just put that code and they send it to you. Here, we're just working from answer to question. It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
You know, and sorry, and as he talked about the port, it is a terrible thing that we are going the way we are going. He talked about MPA being disarray. Do you know that a vessel that comes into Nigeria cannot take bunker here? Most of them, it has happened to me because I said, you come here, we don't have water where you take water in our ports. Sometimes, even when we're on Nigerian vessels, which don't come now anyway, of the 5,500 vessels MPA recorded that called Nigeria about 3 years ago, I don't know what the record is now, not a single, only NNSL and the Green Line, they were the people having Nigerian vessels. Now, no vessel called from abroad that has a Nigerian flag, not one. Over 5,500 come. So, and all these things are impacting negatively. You can't take bunker, you can't take water, you cannot call somebody to supply you chandling food and all that. They're just not there because the bar is blocked. Like he said, you cannot have access to any of these things. The trade regulations are just not encouraging for people to do business. And if you know how much, Singapore makes about $40 billion in bunkering alone. A country of 4 million people.
Mr. Keshinro, what is the role of MPA? What is the role of the Shippers Council? And what is the role of NIMASA in all of this?
Well, briefly, MPA owns the port
ports.
asset,
Okay.
and they develop the port asset up to the point that part of the asset were concessional to private operators.
Okay.
So in terms of the port structures, the port layout, and how the port should be run,
That's MPA.
Security, safety, the technical side of port operations is strictly under MPA.
Okay.
So assets around the port, port within assets, port within rules within the ports, and related facilities like that are under direct control of MPA.
Okay.
Of course, NIMASA as a body, as explained, is in charge of developing and promoting Nigerian shipping industry as a whole through, because it's a fallout of the United Nations program for developing countries to earn income from their trade by retaining certain percentage of the freight earned from the freighting of goods generated to that local economy.
Okay.
So NIMASA today is in charge of course, maritime safety, promoting ship development, indigenous capacity in terms of labor and related issues.
Which we
of
hear
course,
is not much.
Now, Shippers Council is to take care from the beginning. The role of Shippers Council is to serve as interests of cargo, what I call cargo interest.
Them?
Now, cargo, no, they are not cargo, it's ship owner. Cargo interests are importers, exporters, freight forwarders, so that through their own activities they can help to establish what I call market established service charges, when in terms of freight rate, in terms of local, charges to local consumers, basically. So where the interests of local Nigerian importers, Nigerian exporters are breached, they are to play the role. That has been the role of Shippers Council. Of course, until recently, there was a directive from government in terms of making efforts to upgrade the status of Nigeria Shippers Council to serve as the commercial regulator for the trade. But as said, the bill, of course, the current Senate, National Assembly, they are making efforts to bring to bear the National Transport Commission bill and the Port and Harbour bill. Now, having said that, I think for some of the issues we've been looking at here, the interest is port reforms. We are not on ground zero. I'll continue to maintain this. Of course, we are not yet there in our ideal. I mean, there's always an ideal.
Yeah.
And of course, what we aspire to have in this country is what I'll call best practices. Of course, the essence of the port reforms that we have to date, as it affects the Nigerian ports, in terms of MPA asset, that is handling ships, handling cargo, and attending to the trading public, is improving the cargo handling processes, boosting the integrity of operations, as to address the element of cost. Yeah. Of course, when we look at Nigerian port industry, yes, the element of charges are there. These are challenges that we need to address. Now, how do we address this? By breaking down to know who among the operators, because it's not just the terminal operators, it's not just the shipping line. Of course, government has a very, very established interest. And for all what we have discussed before now, even for some of the issues that have been highlighted, the challenge is really government. Because government through its MPA is still providing harbour and marine services. So for all ships coming in, their charges, by Nigerian government through its agency, MPA, is collecting. Now, to what efficient level are they providing these services? I mean, these are the things we need to look at as to address charges. Of course, when you now step this for again, equally NIMASA, to what extent has NIMASA performed its role to guarantee the kind of payment they are collecting? Now, how are they structuring this tariff, their charges, to align with market trend? So these are the things we need to look at. Okay. Of course, we talk of customs.
Sorry, I have to cut you short because we have to manage our time. Lucky, you are a member of the Presidential Task Force. Yeah. From everything we have heard, operations at the ports are capable of bringing in loads and loads of money into our economy. Is it that government is blind to this fact? Because there was a time when Nigeria was the main port in West Africa and was supplying goods to almost every country in the region. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So what has happened? Why have we allowed things to come to this pass where goods for our consumption are coming in through other ports?
Well, we would answer that question when we come back after the break.